Hi Highland Hornets, Mrs. Campbell here. This is the final video for our Microsoft Office Word tutorials, and this video will talk to you about printing your document and then also saving it. So once you have your finished product, you're happy with the way that it looks, and that you've double checked, you've done all your spelling and grammar check, and you've proofed all of your reading to make sure that it makes sense, that you've reviewed the whole thing, you're ready to print. To print, you will go up here to the blue tab that says File and click it. It's going to look different from your other tabs. You're going to scroll down here and you're going to find the word Print. And a few things that you need to know. You need to pay attention to what printer you want to print to. It's showing right here that it would send directly to HES, which means here at Highland, P27BW. Now, P27 is my printer down here in the lab. The BW, and this the BW after any printer name means that it's going to print in black and white. And you see as I hover over that it shows the room of where the printer is. Let me hover again. Do you see where it shows room 509? That's my room, and it says black and white. If you are in a different part of the school building, if you are in, say, the library, Miss Daly's printer is P04. And if you're in the classroom and you are printing to a printer in there in the classroom or next door, you need to ask your teacher what that printer number is to make sure you're directing the computer to print to that printer. All of our printers here at Highland are networked together. That means we can communicate. So from down here in the computer lab, I can print down here and send it up to the printer in Miss Daly's library, or I can send it to any classroom within the building. So that's kind of handy in a way because they all talk to one another. If I need to change my printer, I'm just going to click this drop down arrow here, and it shows a link, it shows a list, of all of the printers that this particular computer is linked to. For an example, if you're in a classroom computer and you're trying to send it to the library and you don't see the P04, that can be connected. Any computer in the building can be connected to any networked printer. So we can add that to the list. However, if you've got it here on the list, you're just going to choose your printer. So I'm going to choose P27 because I want it to print in color. As you can see as I hover over it, if I choose P27, it'll print in color. BW would mean black and white. And you see that for the library printer too. It also can print in color, or it can print in black and white. Classroom computers are only black and white printers, so you can't print color there. So I'll click HES P27, and then it changes to that, and then I'm going to click print. And then it'll go over to the printer, and you'll see maybe a pop-up down here that shows that it's sent, and you can just exit out of it. Sometimes it's a little annoying and it keeps popping back up, and you can just ignore it if it keeps popping up. All right, so now that I've done that, printed, trying to scroll up here, my scroll's not working. There we go. Once you've done printing, you need to always make sure that you save your work, or maybe you're not ready to print that day and need to save it for the next day. If you look at the top, this is the title of your document. Sometimes Microsoft Office Word picks up the very top line and will automatically name it that for you. It just kind of guesses. It kind of infers or predicts what it thinks that you may want to call it, and it picks that up, which is fine. But if you wanted to name it something else, or it hasn't been named yet, you have to tell it, give it a name. So you're going to click that same File tab, and you have to click Save As to tell it what you want it to name. And you have to pick where you want to save it. So this is important to understand. If you click Computer, or you just click the Save, it's going to save it on the computer that you are working on, wherever computer you're sitting at. That's where it's going to save it automatically, unless you tell it differently. You've got to tell the computer differently where you want to save it. Okay? So let's say for an example, you're working on a document and you want to save it in your P drive. Now I haven't opened up a P drive yet, so I would need to go and do that before I actually save it. So I'm going to minimize this down and I'm going to use my friend Ethan Daly. I'm going to use his P drive to save this in so that you can see how this works. And okay. Now, if you opened up your P drive first before you worked on the Word document, that's fine. Either way, I'm going to open up that P drive, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize this window down and go back to my document. My P drive's still open. I just kind of moved it out of the way. And so now I have to tell it where I want it to save. So I'm going to click Computer, and then I'm going to click Browse. And it's going to open up this window that kind of shows me here are all the different places that I can save this document. I could save it on the desktop, right out here on the home screen, you know, where you see the Hive and other shortcuts. I could save it there. I can go to my libraries and save it. Anything that's library is going to be right here on this computer. So I could save it in documents. If I was doing a picture, I might want to choose choose pictures, but I don't want to save it on this computer. I actually want to save it on the P drive. So I'm moving this window over so you can see the full name, and it's showing that I have access to Ethan Daly P drive. Now you always want to make sure you want to look for that P, and you can also tell because it'll have your full name, your full first and last name. Remember that you don't want to choose the H drive because H stands for hot don't touch, right? So we'll click there, Ethan Daly P drive. If you wanted to call it something else than what the top of your document says, you can change it to whatever you want. You just click in that field and type in what you want it to be called. It's automatically saving it as a Word document, and then we'll click Save. All right, so as you can see, it changed the name of the title up top. If I minimize this down and open up the P drive, you'll now see that Ethan has a file named Missy in his P drive. So if you were in the computer lab working on a document and you wanted and you saved it in your P drive, and then you go up in your classroom and your teacher asks you to work some more on that document, you could open up the P drive up there on that computer and click the document and open it and continue working on it. So that's kind of the nice thing about a P drive, is that you can access a P drive from any student computer in Davis County Public Schools. I'm going to minimize this down and open up my Word document because I wanted to show you. Perhaps I get that far and I print and I realize I missed something, or I wanted to add another sentence. I'm not done yet. So I can add some more. All right. So I've already saved it in my P drive. So right now that's where this document is. So once I've done that and it's been named and I've already saved it once in the P drive, I no longer have to keep going in and do File, Save As, okay? It gives me a little bit of a shorter path to be able to save it by just clicking this purple disk. Now, if you look at that purple square, and you might think, well, what does that little icon even mean? Well, I did want to share with you. This is kind of old school. It actually is a purple floppy disk. Back in the day, Miss Campbell, when I would save documents, if I didn't want to save it on the computer and wanted to put on something that I could have, that I could move it around from one computer to another, I would save it on what's called a floppy disk. And it looks like this. And they came in different colors. It didn't have to be, as you see here, it did not have to be just purple. They came in other colors as well. But Microsoft Office Word, I guess, is a little old school. And in order to save it, all you have to do is click that purple disk, and it will save any updates to that document. So if you were to click it, like say you didn't have your P drive open, and you create this document and you just click this save, it's only going to save right on here on that computer that you are working on. So make sure that if you want to save it to P drive, that you open up that P drive first and select it in the browse to save it to your P drive. If you have any questions about that, you make sure that you ask me. Even adults get a little confused with how to save it in the P drive, and I want to make sure that you understand it because that's something you're going to be using for a while to come. So I thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great day. And I want you to say hooray! Now you're done with the end of our Microsoft Office Word tutorials.